Hi everyone. I thought it was time that I do a new video. Today was the 2-month checkup after my treatment. So there's some news there. Firstly, I want to apologize for being a bit distant. The past while I've been, to be honest, quite depressed about the fact that I haven't managed to start swallowing again. And there's no sure end in sight. I have no idea when this is going to stop. I'm not feeling any real signs of improvement. There's small indicators that I'm getting a little bit more down my throat, but from time to time, but it's not consistent. I'm doing lots of exercises, throat exercises, neck and throat exercises, which I feel are strengthening the muscles, but it's not having any direct effect on my swallowing ability as yet. But I'm going to carry on. Anyway, to be perfectly honest, it's been really, really getting me down, and I think you all know I don't like sharing downer news, so I've been a little bit more quiet. But there's some reason for optimism now. Even though this is an ongoing issue with my swallowing, I've been, like I said, at the 2-month check today, and they again went down my throat with the scope, further this time to investigate things, which was obviously a little bit uncomfortable, but I managed. And they had one of the doctors from one of the other hospitals that was part of the investigative scope procedure. And both she and Muhammad, my doctor, were of the opinion that the cancer has been dealt with. So that's the good news today. They don't, today would have been a deciding factor as to whether I would have to have this further looked at, and further looked at would have meant operating my throat section. And they don't see that as being necessary. So this is good news. I have a bit of a hard time understanding it all because I'm still not getting the PET scan for another month. And to me, that's where they can see the actual cancer cell that was, the origin of everything, because they can't see that with looking through the scope. And they also did ultrasound and looked at the lymph nodes on both sides. I have one over here and two over here that have been affected. And the consensus is that the lymph nodes are no longer showing signs of cancer. So they're quite confident that if it hadn't been dealt with, that those would still be showing cancer growth, and they're not. So in their opinion, it's been successful. And I'm sure you can see I'm feeling a little bit like, as I wrote to my two buddies today, feeling a bit like a deer in the headlights. I don't, Leg and I shed a few tears when we left the hospital, but at the same time I'm having a hard time taking it in, and I don't completely understand why. I know the fact that I can't swallow is part of it, and that I have an ongoing issue there, and I will be looking at how that has to be dealt with more long term, which we also addressed today. So those are still issues. I managed to convince them that I want to have the PEG operation in my stomach, so I can feed myself directly into my stomach as opposed to having the tube down my throat. Took some convincing, but my big point is I can't foresee myself being able to do all the throat and neck exercises that I'm doing now if I'm being impeded with a tube that's constantly, permanently down my throat. The other factor is that I know it would make me even more depressed than I'm feeling right now. So the doctor finally agreed to schedule me for that. He said that the waiting period will be 2 weeks to a month, possibly. At the 2 weeks at the earliest. And so I've got that to look forward to. Hopefully, I will have started swallowing before then. We can cancel it. I'm not very optimistic about that, but I'm doing everything I possibly can to try and get there. I'm doing exercises numerous times a day. I'm constantly trying to swallow popsicles, food from time to time. I'm chewing food so that I activate my tongue. I'm doing that numerous times a day. It's also helping keep the bacteria in check. I just have to spit it all out again, which is also a little bit of a downer, but at least I'm getting some taste. And what's encouraging is my taste buds are starting to come back. Some foods still don't taste normal, but more and more foods are, which is good. As I'm sure you can hear, my throat's affected today, and it varies from day to day. The past few days it's been very rough. I'm still dealing with pain okay. I've reduced my pain killers extensively. I was on 4 times morphine injections a day. Those are gone. And I was at 62 milligrams of fentanyl patches on my chest. I've brought those down to 37 milligrams now. And my pain is still being managed. Like I said, I'm a bit more sore in my throat this week, but I'm not in excruciating pain or anything. So I'm going to try and maintain it at the 37 milligrams. So that's good. Taste buds coming back. Blood tests are good. My infection numbers are very, very low, like surprisingly low. My fluid balance is just on level. I should be having much more fluids, but I can only get so much into my body through the intravenous. We might have to look at that in the next couple of weeks as well. I'm maintaining my weight, although it's low. I'm not losing weight and haven't lost weight for, I think, about 3 weeks now. So that's good news. And for those who don't know, I was on antibiotics for quite a while because of the blood infection. That's completely cleared up. That's also good news. So there's lots of good news. I'm just still feeling quite trapped with the fact that I can't swallow, and it's something I'm constantly feeling, and that's affecting me. So I'm trying to deal with that as best I can, and that's why I'm not over the hills about the news that have come today, although it's obviously very good. And as one of my friends said to me today, at least they know that I'm going to keep my voice. And that was really nice to read. And my friend Yen wrote how he's been praying for me. I know you all have as well. And thank you for that. So I'm very touched by all of you guys being in my life. That I can feel very touched about and very thankful for. I think I'll round it off there. That's the status as of today. I will be going in for the PET scan in a month, and we'll see what that says. The only thing that looking at that changing, the results of that changing from today, is the fact that they may need to operate the lymph nodes out. But that depends on if they react to the radioactive injection that I get during the PET scan. If the lymph nodes obtain some of the fluid, then they'll be operated out. If they reject it, then they'll just leave them. And that's the scenario that Muhammad is expecting. He doesn't expect that we will have to have them removed. I'm not too bothered about that. I mean, if that's a small operation, it's nothing complex. So to me, it doesn't really make that much of a difference if they have to or don't have to. I'm just personally quite anxious to see the results of the PET scan in terms of what the actual cancer origin looks like. But they don't see that as necessary. It's optional. I had to choose whether or not I wanted to have the PET scan because they don't see it as being necessary for discerning that my cancer has been dealt with. And I'll be having my, I guess my next one is a 4-month check, and then after that it's 6 months, I think, for the next 5 years, something like that. So there'll be continuing checkups on me, but they're very positive, and they say my throat has healed very well. I do have some swelling in my throat, which they were able to see a bit more clearly today, so they're giving me some new medicine. I can't remember what it's called in English. Should try and deal with the swelling of my throat and see if that helps at all. So I'm on that for the next 5 days. And until the operation, I'll still be on the intravenous nutrients, but they want to stop me on that because there's been nothing going directly into my stomach for quite a long time. So they want to remedy that situation as well. I think that's everything. Thank you, everybody, for all of your support. And if I'm quiet, at least you know why. I'm still dealing with some issues, but obviously today's news is hugely encouraging. Love to you all.